Okay, we're here with Dan S Wang. We're going to talk about the Monsanto hearings that Dan is trying to get organized for early November, I believe.
Correct.
We'll see if that's going to come about. Before we get started, Dan, I want to throw a few questions by you and see what you have. I don't know your background as far as your knowledge of the Monsanto and what they're involved in or what they do. If you could touch on that for a moment.
Well, as most people know, Monsanto is a large multinational corporation based in St. Louis with offices all over the world. And the company history, which really comes straight from their website, speaks to the earlier incarnation of Monsanto company, which was a chemicals company that made all sorts of stuff, and then at some point was bought by other companies, other corporations, and the long story short is what we now know as the Monsanto Corporation is a company that is dedicated to agribusiness, agri-industry, seed research and production, and that gets into why we're interested in doing this, which is that the Monsanto company is really the major player in the world when it comes to GMO seed production, seed research, with all of the attendant activities, meaning intellectual property rights and so forth.
Excellent. Now, you had mentioned before that there was hearings like this prior.
Well, what we're trying to do is grows out of a project just that we refer to as the Monsanto Hearings, which first took place in two instances last year, in two places in the Midwest. One was Carbondale, Illinois, and the other was Iowa City. And this was a project that was initiated by a group of artists that call themselves Compass, and I'm one of those people, and it's a loose group of about 14, 15, 16 people scattered around the Midwest. We're all artists, researchers, writers, and four people out of that group. Three women, I'll just name them. Claire Pentecost, who is Chicago-based, Rozalinda Borcila, who is also Chicago-based, Sarah Kanouse, who is Iowa City-based, and Sarah Lewison, who is Carbondale-based. They had the wherewithal to really take on the organizing and put this project together. It was first commissioned as an art project, but it was conceived from the beginning as something that would bridge the activities of art, political activism, political education, and autonomous research. I'll just say that last part again. Autonomous research.
Thank you.
Yeah. So what we're doing is taking the form of a people's tribunal and, in effect, putting Monsanto on trial. Obviously, there's no binding legal power here, but the power of truth is very much in play, and that's what we're trying to get to, is to gather testimony, to document the voices that are critical of Monsanto, and get a wider picture, a more extended statement about all of the activities and misdeeds of Monsanto, having to do with, like I said, intellectual property grabs, GMO contamination, the chokehold on our democracy through the kind of lobbying that they do, and so forth.
Do you know the prior hearings that were held by the peoples that you have mentioned earlier? Was this a big turnout, or is this new, something that you're trying to feed off and grow, of course?
Right. We're trying to, we're interested in taking this People's Tribunal form and disseminating it as an activist tool, and to have it happen in different cities. Because in every city, based on who will be organizing it in that place, it's going to be a little bit different. So the Carbondale event was a little bit different than the Iowa City event, and we're in the early stages of organizing the Madison event, so we'll see exactly what shape it takes here. But for the fall of 2013, the Madison Monsanto hearings are conceived as one in a series of 3 that will happen in ideally a bi-weekly succession. One happening in St. Louis, which is where Monsanto is headquartered, and then 2 weeks later happening in Chicago, where futures trading was invented, and then finishing up here, like you said, in the first half of November in Madison, where there is such a strong local food culture and community of food activists.
Yeah. And Madison or Wisconsin itself, along with Illinois and Iowa, is very agricultural based, obviously. So, will you try and be having any farmers or any other experts, anyone that has any more info to hearing on this?
I mean, definitely farmers, different kinds of farmers, farmers with different kinds of experience with Monsanto. Also on the positive side, farmers who are working in the economy that is outside of the GMO, agribusiness, chemical-intensive regime. So we're going to try to reach out to all different kinds of voices, but especially including people who are directly involved in food production. Yeah, for sure.
And like you had stated earlier, there's others. You're helping this grow.
Right. I'm, just one out of the Compass group, but because I'm the one of the Compass group who lives in Madison, I'm kind of helping to do some of the main coordinating here. But it's not just me here, and right now it's open. We're looking for people to help us. It's kind of I don't know how you think of it as in terms of activist workload. I mean, it's a one-day event. There's an end date. It's not an ongoing group, but right now it's middle of June, and we're really in the formative stages of gathering the organizing core. For right now, it's myself and Juliee de la Terra, who lives out in Lafarge. Other people are coming on board. We're in touch with other people who helped organize the March Against Monsanto, which just happened about 3 weeks ago here and in other places. And like I said, it's not that hard to plug into the different kinds of food activist networks around here.
Right. Now, I had thought of a question. I'll get back to it. Please continue on if there are any other thoughts you want to get out there.
I guess I'll say something about the form. When I say the form, I'm talking about the People's Tribunal form, which is a well-known, well-trod kind of path. I like to think about it in terms of like, well, what forms are available for activists to use? You can organize a march, demonstration. You could organize, leafleting or lobbying, or you can organize something that's a little bit more creative and interactive, and that's kind of what we're trying to get to. I would also, in terms of the depth of that form, I think it's important to understand that the People's Tribunal is something that kind of, there's an overlap between the very grassroots, bottom-up kind of activity and then the official state-sponsored activity, because People's Tribunals have been officially organized, especially in truth and reconciliation processes. For example, in South Africa, that would probably be the best known, where there's as a process of forgiveness and making peace, there is a forum for gathering testimony and truth-telling, for people to tell their stories.
Now, as this, as your organization, as you grow in producing this rally or hearing, so to say, will you be having any group meetings prior to it, maybe brainstorming? Or,
Yeah, so we have, we have a Facebook page up now to help with the organizing.
And where can we find that?
Just search on Madison Monsanto Hearings within Facebook, and that should take you right there. You can also check out the Compass website, which is called midwestcompass.org. My email, I'll just give it to you right now. danwang@mindspring.com, and I will plug you into what we've got going on. And I think we'll obviously, it's one of those things where as we get closer to the event, especially through the fall, we'll be having regular meetings to just get the tasks done. But right now, I think we're trying to meet maybe every 3 weeks about, and the Facebook page will have the details on that.
Great. And
meetings.
so if I wanted to come, I could come and perhaps video this or even get more comments.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And I should also point out that the Monsanto hearings, partly because they were conceived by a group of artists, will be documented. And the first 2 events were documented, and they already exist as documented videos on Vimeo. And they, in fact, one of them I think is linked already from the Madison Monsanto Hearings page, Facebook page. So you can get a taste of what those hearings were like.
Oh, that's great.
And you can look forward to the Madison Monsanto hearings being well documented as well. So the original 4 people who put this thing together that I mentioned earlier, some of them will be in attendance to help with the documentation.
Good.
But you're welcome to document as well.
That would be beautiful, because as you know, I'm here not only for Disclosed TV to help spread the word throughout the world, not just regional, but to get the word out and hopefully some help and some more people involved.
Yeah, that'd be great.
And that's pretty much what this is about. You're very welcome. Is there anything else you'd like to say? Or?
Well, I think I got the contact info down and I got the history of the project. I will mention that I was in contact with one of the well-known food sovereignty, food activist, family farm activist people here in town, and he mentioned to me that they actually did a group of Madison activists actually staged a kind of mock trial years ago at the state fair. I think he told me, putting Monsanto on trial. So you see that around here there's a lot of experience and familiarity with this kind of thing.
Well, that's great. Well, I want to thank you once again, Mr. Wang.
You're welcome.
And looking forward to more interviews.
Thank you. We'll keep you posted.
All right, thank you.